Well, hello. Hello, all of you wonderful, beautiful, sensitive people. Happy Thursdays. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. How's everyone doing? Are you excited to talk about a little bit of hot topics? Me too. Well, welcome. I am Whimsy. I'm your hostess with the mostest. And we're broadcasting somewhere live from beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon, the greatest city that ever was. And as you know, I very much fit in with Portland, Oregon. So before we get started, we always make a request that you be kind to all so that all can be kind to you. Being kind is a gosh darn important thing. I also want to give gratitude before we start to those people who take time out of their day to help moderate the channel. Melody Harmon, thank you for being here. Debbie Brady, your dreams coach. She is our merch person. She's doing a lot of work for us, production, etc. I'm just in awe of you, Debbie. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kay Travel Tarot. She has a heart of gold. She will help you maneuver things if you have a question for me. Joel Tilson is kind of like our floor director, I guess. He is going to take his mic and he's going to find your question. He's going to make sure I can see them. So we thank everybody, all the members who are helping today. If I've missed anybody, I apologize. Oh, Connie Morris is here. Hopefully Geocosmic Valentine as well, who is also a remote viewer and an astrologer. She is another person that we rely on quite a bit here on the channel. All right, so let's get cracking. Let's give gratitude to all of you. Hi, Jill Groth. Great to see you here. Thanks for coming. Patrice Kelly, hopefully you're doing well. Cherry Mode, is that Mode? Oh, Cherry Moet. Oh, in Tacoma, Washington. Nice. So you're a neighbor. Beautiful. Hi, Lila Korva. See, my contacts don't make me see any better. Lilia Corvarbius. Hi to you. Thank you. Annie. Oh, Annie's in New Mexico. Nice. Chris Crowdis in the house. Hi, Chris. Are you in California? Remind me again. Melody Harmon, she's giving out the good love, as is Debbie and Kay. Debbie M, good to speak with you. In beautiful state of Missouri with all that beautiful natural wonder. Would love to do a cave tour one of these days. Hi, TR, great to see you. And of course, Joel Tilson is from the beautiful state of Wyoming in Cheyenne. It's a pretty amazing part of the world. He always fills us in on what's going on in that part of the world. Yes, I think it, if I'm not mistaken, was it, who sent me the hat? Was it Lenora? I can't remember, but I do enjoy this hat quite a bit. Clarence Fields, hi. Copper Broom, hello. Constance Pleasant, hello. LC, hello. Thank you for being members. Well, you guys want to talk about something? Unfortunately, the underwater vehicle has been found in pieces. The technique I used as a remote viewer is a technique that we teach a little bit more advanced. Sometimes when we have time, I try to teach it at the end of the quarter. We're now entering week 6 for this quarter's class on remote viewing. But that technique is called, Geocosmic Valentine isn't here. She's really good at this stuff. That's called, when you walk the grid like that, that's called the magic carpet ride. Yeah, unfortunately, to me, it looked like a mountain, and when you look at the wreck, the front bow is up like this because there's an edge thing. So when it came down, so I had just thought when I was down there that maybe over time ice had accumulated because there's this blob of rock, and over 1,000 years, 10,000 years, you might get a large surface of ice around that area forming under the rocks. But I don't know. I just walked the grid. I floated around. I went to the back. I went to the bow of the boat, and that was where I found it. I also felt a bubble. If you look back at the picture, you'll see like a tear as I'm coming down. There's the sheet. Those are gases. And the bubble. Did you guys see the picture I drew? I don't know. Anyway, but it also felt like on the bottom surface, it was very sharp and very, yeah. Unfortunately, those are the kinds of jobs you do sometimes get when you remote view. Yes, it did implode. Yeah, but readers are not allowed to tell you if somebody's dead or something. And even those who work for like feds, because it's not our job to inform the family. The family could be watching, and out of respect for the family, when law enforcement do work with people who do this kind of thing, it's their job. It's not our job, even if you did have the ability to do that. And so when people ask, oh, are they dead or something like that, readers know a family member could be watching. Yeah, that your child is, oh, God forbid, or something. So we just don't do that it's unethical. And yeah, so it kind of puts readers in a weird position, I think, sometimes. Not until the family's notified. It's just not appropriate. Okay, Claudia Veras has a question. Hi, Claudia. Always great to see you. Okay, well, 45 spill the beans about the charges in the indictment. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think that there is anything more that we can get from this guy? I think they would definitely want to see his electronics. Do you think that he would willingly give them over so that we don't have to have a raid? It is beyond my comprehension that they wouldn't seize electronics. I think that would be the next thing. So if we're not hearing about it, does that mean he's cooperating? I don't know. Let's take a look. Great question, Claudia. Excuse me. Let us take a look, darlings. Oh, did we do the empath's prayer? We didn't, did we? Okay, you guys, we got to do the. We have to do the empath's prayer. Sorry about that. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. All right, let's take a look. Yes, he's willing to hand over anything. So this is a much, it was a really weird feeling to be Trump. I felt this strange horror, like they were going to send me back there. Like I can put on a tough act in front of my tough friends. Like, yeah, military school was cool. But in reality, it was a deeply traumatic, horrifying, it was jail. You can imagine what happened to those kids when the doors were locked. So in his mind, where I go as Trump is that experience, the horror of being locked up basically in that military school, reform school, basically not much, basically juvie for rich kids, right? I think this is someone who is now at a point where he's going to be far more willing to cooperate, Claudia. First off, his seventh house immediate environment is Six of Pentacles. This is also justice and mercy, right? He's already facing, 400, 500 years, and we haven't even gotten to the other charges that are most likely going to be coming. So he is a little in a very different place, I would say. It's interesting. This is starting to look a little bit more like he could wind up in some kind of military facility or something, which is strange to me. Can he be charged as having been in the military because he was the commander in chief at the time of the crimes? Is that possible? Any lawyers here? Like, what are they going to do? House him at a military, police? Are they going to hold? This is almost looking like they're going to hold him in a military jail, and he'll be the only prisoner. I mean, it's almost, and it almost looks like this could go down in 3 months. I keep like, actually less, August. Now it's August. It was 3 months. Now it's August. Something is going down with this guy, possible resulting in him physically being moved or even incarcerated as early as August. You do have conversations happening about this particular defendant's age, which is, you have the whole idea of cruel and unusual punishment, particularly when you're talking about a prisoner who is elderly. So there is something here about concerns about health of the prisoner, movement. Final outcome, he will attempt to flee, right? That's the card that a lot of readers have been getting, a lot of psychics, that he's going to try and leave. Well, that would probably be amusing for Jack, because Interpol would simply drag him back, right? They would simply notify the local authorities. There's really nowhere to run to. There's no country that would risk problems with their diplomatic relationships with the United States over this guy. Sincerely doubt it. But when you think about, like, the Tower of London was specifically a prison for royals and VIPs, right? So how they would sometimes enter how they would enter the Tower of London would often be by boat, like Catherine Howard. She was brought by boat, right? So you have this kind of really weird energy that it's almost like taking an important prisoner to the tower, and they're using this kind of justice and moving the prisoner like the water, just like when the prisoner would be sent off to the tower. I'll be honest, as far as the Justice Department is concerned, they have washed their hands of this particular accused individual. And I say that because it is out of the hands of the Justice Department. It is in the hands of the judges and in the courts. And so at that point, it's almost like the Justice Department has handed it over. The Justice Department was to approve the investigation, to set up so that that could happen. But at this point, it's pretty much being released from the Justice Department because their part is done. You can see here, healing. And also, they're pretty much wrapping this up. Hanged Man, I think the investigation from their perspective is wrapped up. Hope and fear, the courts. I think he'll get convicted. Final outcome is 5 of Cups. It's very likely he'll be at a military facility if they remove him from Eric's. Basically, he's under Eric right now, but I don't see it lasting more than a couple of months. It's very likely if he's convicted, he winds up in a facility like that. It has this military aspect to it that keeps coming in. Very unusual, very strange. The only thing I can think of is that it may have something to do with the role he had or position he had at the time of January 6th. Yeah. All right. Trump's health. Wait a minute. Let me go back. If somebody's ahead, I just want to make sure. So Anne was wanting to point out the fact that there was a migrant ship and hundreds of people died. It was off the coast of Greece. And really, that's a crime against humanity. But it's also considered a crime against the sea, just to let you guys know that. If somebody is drowning, you help them. You have a moral responsibility to do something. So that's a crime. And I think it's something that Ann Pelion wants us to really think about and meditate on. And I think she's right, is look at all the money that was spent for 5 people, and yet in Greece, people were murdered and it didn't even get coverage. So it goes back to that whole idea of how do we make the world a better place when we see that kind of injustice between the rich, poor, etc., the vulnerable, etc., we have to kind of call it out. So great point. Okay, let's keep going. Oops, you skipped again. Oops. Help. I'll get there. Okay, so Joel is saying that he thinks that he may wind up. There is a super maximum prison in Colorado. He's getting a feeling that there's also a medical wing in Fort Leavenworth, according to Melody Harmon. But yeah, it looks like if I were to make a prediction now with the way that these cards are starting to evolve, if he doesn't get house arrest with Eric, or if they realize that that's just, it's not going to be safe, it also wouldn't be fair to whoever has him under house arrest, right? Because then that person becomes vulnerable, the person protecting them. And so for that reason, he could be moved. I mean, who's going to attempt to invade a military base because they've heard that a particular president is being housed there? So for that reason, we could be seeing it moving in that direction. Do you think if the feds do that, is that going to work for you? Are you happy with that decision if they say we're going to take him to Fort Collins, or we're going to take him to such and such because there's an area? And then we're going to be able to control for crazy Trump supporters because he's going to be in a maximum security area on a military base. Are you guys, does that do it for you, or is that still not enough? I guess. You know, it's up to you guys. I don't judge. Whatever you guys feel. Most of you are feeling like that's what you want to see. Well, I think to keep everybody safe, that would probably be a good idea. Tani Acosta is here. Woohoo! Hi, Tani. Tani is a counselor, and she does healing work and advocacy for the LGBTQ community. She is incredible. She's based out of Arizona, but she also does telework. So if you need a therapist, she also does energy work. She's wonderful. In fact, we'll be doing an interview with her about her work, particularly with the trans community, which is under threat, what we call third persons in anthropological terms. But yeah, so we want to protect our community, which is under threat. So Tani has, I asked if Tani would come and talk to us, and she agreed to do so. So we'll be doing an interview Monday, and I'll try and put it up Monday night because I know a lot of you had requested to speak with her. So yeah, if you have any questions for Tani, you can go ahead and send them to me at whimsyanderson@gmail.com. Anything you want to know about being a trans woman, she will let you know. So just reach out to me at whimsyanderson@gmail.com before our interview Monday. Yeah. Thank you, Tony. Good to see you here. Okay, so Holly W. has a question. Will Trump's Oman hotel deal be... Oh my gosh. Let's find out. Trump. Okay, his deal. He has international deals in the pipeline, he says. There are people that it's almost like the Trump organization isn't even owned by him, because they plan on making these international deals with or without Trump. You can see here's the international deals. Karmic. Businessman Trump. Here's the deal. So, yeah, I mean, it may benefit people and associates with Trump, even if Trump isn't part of the original deal. So, yeah, it could still go through, Holly. If it's involved with people that are business associates of whoever the Trump is working, whoever was backing the financially or whoever was a part of this, you've got this investigation into investing, you've got the world, Six of Cups. It's a good investment. See, Ace of Cups right over Trump's card. But they may fall short in terms of going through with it with a Four of Pentacles, which could be frugality. So we'll just have to see whether or not they want to invest. They could be holding off to see what's going to happen with him legally with a Four of Pentacles outcome, because that's a frugality card when it comes to money. Oh, incredible speech by Adam Schiff before the GOP censored him. Well, the GOP is finished. I mean, it's how bad does it have to get before you realize that you're supporting you're supporting Trump, you're supporting things that are, first off, I don't think he's any more of a threat. I know people are worried about him, but I don't think he's a threat. So Holly says that Tulsa lost power for days due to tornadoes, and it was basically ignored. That's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't think Alcatraz is a working prison anymore. This looked like a military base they would place him on a military base. Okay, K Travel, do you think he will start attacking everyone who testified against him? Don't you think he's afraid at this point? Like, the attacking stuff is only getting him into more and more trouble. If his lawyers have to get hauled before the judge again, this guy he's really facing all kinds of charges at this point, just in terms of, what is that called? Obstruction? Or what is it called when you're off trying to sabotage the case? That's what he tries to do, and then he's going to wind up in trouble. Let's see if Trump is going to retaliate. I think if he's smart, he'll just become quiet like a little kid, because this is like being sent to reform school for him all over again. So from his perspective, it's this nightmare all over again. No, this is very terrifying. I mean, imagine if you were sitting in a room and people were talking about what they planned on doing to you, and you were just sitting there, and they were talking about it like you weren't even in the room, because that's how little power you had. It's gotten to that point. It's gotten to the point where he has so little power that they're openly discussing it. I mean, as if, I think it's really too late. I don't see him running for office in any successful way. Hanged Man, Ace of Cups. No, this is Ace of Cups is I'll be good, okay? It's like, I'll be good. Right now, he's getting just how in trouble he is. It's like, I was your friend. Now it becomes the other thing, right? Yeah, it's over. His career's over. Look at that. There's his card. He's worried about his businesses overseas because he felt like he kind of burned his bridges with business partners in the United States. A lot of people don't want to invest. A lot of people don't want to work with him because they don't like the way they were treated. And so what he did was he said, fine, I'll just go overseas and start building things overseas. And so that's what happened. You have this money card. This is of someone's business. This is an overseas good luck card. So his final outcome is, again, the world and lovers. It's almost like this feeling that the Trump organization is doing better overseas than it is in the United States. And there's also a feeling when you look at it that people who work for the Trump organization, his children, possibly Eric, will somehow be able to still pull this off. Interesting. Mental health eval, Joel. Don't you think he's already had one? Don't you think they already know that he's crazy? I don't know. It's can't believe I saw this question. There was no question mark. Whimsy do HCRV on Wilbur Ross. He was responsible for routing funds for the Russian Trump emissaries, including Trump. I didn't know that. The name sounds familiar, Wilbur Ross. Doesn't it sound like a familiar name? I think I need to turn my air conditioner on. Remind me again who Wilbur Ross is. Whew, hot flash. Oh, yeah, Trump's secretary. There, I remember the name. Let's see what's going on with him and if the feds are after him. Probably, right? Aren't the feds pretty much wrapping this whole thing up? Is he involved with the family? Because they're basically suggesting that he's part of the family and that he will be betrayed. He will be handed over. So yes, he's in trouble. He's part of the family. You know, the family is betraying each other, right? It's a really weird group of aristocrats, right? It's so weird because you have this family that thinks that they've got God on their side, and then you've got these aristocrats that are like hanging out with Epstein, and it's like so bizarre. And there's like weird cults where they're molesting kids, and it's just like maybe that. I mean, I've always felt like if you are an extremist about religion, it's that you're probably a narcissist of some type or another. It doesn't matter what you're doing. I mean, extremism is a type of a narcissism. But in terms of Wilbur Ross, there's some kind of battle. There's battle going on. I think he's going to sell people out because heartbreak over the family. Look at this family legacy. Heartbreak over the family. Heartbreak, family. This is the family's card. Look at this. The devil, betrayal, stabbed in the back. It's like if Anika, that woman who was part of the Belgian sex trade, and then the German sex trade was related. Then there was another one, and she ended up working with the police, etc. But she talked about like aristocrats involved in these weird satanic cults and this weird stuff. And you see that Ten of Swords and the family and the devil. You think like, what were these people up to behind closed doors? And Epstein, and they just were. These are freaks. It looks like a bit like there's something freaky going on. A little bit freaky going on there. Ten of Swords means that he was given up by his own. And that's a betrayal card. Yeah. And the devil, that can be sex addiction. You know, that's why I'm saying it can be alcoholism, sex addiction. That's what I'm saying. Like, what's this guy's story? Because it's looking kind of weird. Yeah. So he was betrayed and he will make a deal. That's what they're saying. And he was part. I don't know. Ten of Pentacles is like your legacy, and there's that cult of the family that's linked back to the heritage fam. I mean, it's just this really, they're really weird people, and it's just, it's all very strange. You know, Holly W. Trump and his kids. What do you think? Do you think that they've abandoned him? Well, definitely his daughter has. She had to choose, right? Remember when Kushner basically told her you're gonna hand over everything to the feds, honey, right? Kushner was like, no, my kids are not growing up with a parent in jail. You're gonna cooperate with things, everything you know, and that's what she did. She did, in fact, testify in New York, etc. She's testified a couple of times. Let's see. And now she wants nothing to do with him. And I think she's also renounced the Trump name, right? She's going by Kushner. Well, it's an interesting to go into these dynamics. The last straw for her was what he did to her mother when he buried her mother. That was the last straw for Ivanka. That was when she cut off contact, according to this. She was on thin ice, and her husband was pulling back. But the thing with Ivana's death was the last straw. She really was very affected by that. She's starting a new beginning, a new life. She's also launching a new business, a new brand. Eric may be able to save the businessman, but I don't know. You know, there's a tension also between Ivanka and Melania didn't trust Ivanka. It's Melania that didn't trust Ivanka. It's like Melania is close to Trump enough to where she doesn't trust Ivanka. And this could be because they were all in on the inauguration scam. So would they turn on each other in a private federal investigation? Like give private, would they stab each other? And the answer is yes, because there's this feeling that you have Melania on one side, you have Ivanka on the other, and it's that possibly they also began to be ripped apart when the feds started. Well, I didn't do it. Melania did it. Well, I didn't do it. Ivanka did it. There becomes where they stop trusting each other because they're turning on each other. I really don't think that the Trump organization can survive. The Trump organization is no more. It'll be broken down, assets, connections, etc., and maybe other investors will take it over under a new name. That's probably what's going to happen, because if you put your money into something like that, you better make sure you're going to get it back. So there's something like that. So Joel is pointing out that Fox News could get blocked in Canada. How do you guys feel about that? That would be blocking free speech. Do you feel we should get to the point where we actually block? Do you feel that it's right to block, or do you think it would be better to let them go on, but just put a banner up saying their statements cannot be relied upon? Or I get a little weird when we start talking about not allowing for free speech, just because it gets to be a bit of a problem, right? Because you want to, But of course, this is Canada. I don't know what the policy, what their laws are in Canada. Let's take a look if Canada is going to get rid of Fox. Hi, Paulette Smith. Thanks. I enjoy having you here. Okay. FCC closing down Fox. It's definitely a serious conversation that they're having. If people want to get a strong satellite connection so that they can pick up American broadcasting, they can't stop it. The question is whether or not they're going to broadcast things in Canada. I think that might be what you're talking about, because this is looking like you would have to do something to see Fox. I don't really understand how this works, but starting soon, could be as early as this summer, you have a new beginning in terms of I grew up in Portland and Seattle, so we watch Canadian TV, right? Second City. We grew up watching that stuff. Monty Python, right? So we got all the Canadian channels because we were on the border. So it could be something where if you've got certain kinds of signal, you would be able to pick up an American station. That's what it kind of looks like. But you have this new beginning starting around August where they were looking at potentially, I don't know if Canadian affiliate, it's more like the Canadian affiliates. They just don't get picked up by Canadian affiliates. I think the reason that they're thinking of doing this is because they feel that it's a national security risk. That was why Canada is making this decision. This addiction, it's become like an addiction, an unhealthy addiction. Rah, 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 we're going to win, marching, it becomes this, it's almost becoming worse in Canada while it's becoming better in the United States. They're starting to really have a MAGA problem in Canada. I guess, wasn't somebody shot? Somebody from Canada also came to the United States and tried to beat up Pelosi's husband, right? So this has become a national security issue. Sort of truth, etc. But what's interesting here is you have this violent energy coming in over Canada. Look at this. So from a Canadian perspective, it's become a national and magma is becoming a serious security risk, and that's why they're looking at it from this perspective, and because they're freaked out by what happened to the Americans, and so rightly so. That's why they're thinking about how can we start blocking these signals. It's interesting. It's a very interesting conversation about what are the ethics around it. But I imagine if you had a satellite dish, you would be able to pick it up, wouldn't you? Right? It's just that it's not going to be on Canadian cable. Oh, Darlene's here. What about Darlene Christopher? Is she here? Actually, it's one of my best friends. I love Canada. Yeah. Canada's fun. Though I did have the worst kebab ever in Canada. It was so dried out, it was like a rock. That was like back in the 80s when they were known for having horrible restaurants. The only place you could get a good meal in Vancouver was Chinatown, or maybe the India section. And now it's completely changed. Now there's plenty of great restaurants in Vancouver, but it used to be known for bad food. What am I looking at? Is there some drama I'm missing? Baker Act in Florida, no court, doctor, patients, you in, Doctor pits you in hospital? Huh? I don't understand the question. Baker Act in Florida, no court, doctor pits in you in the hospital. I don't. I can't. Oh my goodness. Well, I just don't think Trump's kids. I think temporarily for the first couple months while this whole thing is going on, they've gotten some guarantee from uh, Eric, but it's looking like he'll. It's looking like a real possibility he'll be at a military just because of security. Will Merrick Garland be brought up on obstruction of justice charges for not beginning his case about Trump until a year after January 6th? Let's look at the future of Merrick Garland. I know that he complained about obstruction by Trump's lawyers that had like 40 people all working with the same, and he had to start investigating them and charging them, and some of them went to jail because of obstruction. So, yes, Lynn, in a way, it's kind of already happened that they could not move forward for a year because of obstructive actions by the team that was working with Trump and Trump's cronies. And it did, in fact, block. But I don't think that was Merrick Garland. I think it was obstruction, lying, and delaying, etc., on the part of attorneys. And it led to some of them facing legal trouble. It's one thing to try and legally get your client off. It's another thing when you start engaging in actual obstruction. And so it went on for a very long time. That's true. But then Merrick Garland turned around and began charging them. So what happened was they walked away and they abandoned Trump, and some of them are still facing criminal charges. But you had this abandonment that happened because they're in so much trouble over what they were conned into doing by this guy. And you can see here, eventually it fell apart, and now everybody's got their own lawyer and they're turning on each other. You've got a backstabbing happening. They took the weapons away. That took a long time. It took months and months and months and months and months just to get past all the obstruction. He was very patient, but boy, it also created a tremendous amount of anger in Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland wins. He was very patient. The patience card, temperance. The sword of truth wins. Hopes and fears, rejection of the offers that he gave, final outcome, celebration, armistice day. This is the armistice day card. When people danced in the street at the end of the war, you'll see this often referred to as the armistice card. So, no, he wins in the end, but much of it was due to obstruction by Trump and his co-defendants' attorneys that were working together to obstruct. And that was why they were facing charges. Great question, by the way, Lynn. Thank you for that. Well, it's Thursday. As many of you know, it is Thursday. Not quite Friday. And this is our happy hour. So my question to you is, have you open a bottle of anything? Beer, vodka, anybody doing martinis? I'm doing coffee. You do not want to see me drunk. It's just pathetic. It doesn't happen very often. I get a tummy ache if I drink alcohol. I usually cry a lot. I get very emotional when I drink. I don't get angry. I weep at car commercials. It's just, you don't want to see it. It's like, it's so beautiful. Yeah, it's like after a thimble of wine. So it's pathetic. I'm one of those sloshy drunks that cries and tells everybody, you don't want to go there. It's just, her, the Chardonnay girl. So for that reason, I'm sticking to coffee. But you folks, please tell me if you are having something a little bit more risky. And are any of you making dinner? Chardonnay, yes. I do like Chardonnay, but I can't drink. It does a number on me. Sometimes I like a beer, actually. We have some very good beers in the Pacific Northwest. I can't finish a beer, but I can get through about two-thirds. So yeah, I like the red ambers, the Alaskan amber, or no, what was it? The African amber, Mac and Jack African amber. You can get it in Seattle at the Pike Place Market. That is the most in. Go to the Athena restaurant in Pike Place Market. Go to the bar, get yourself some oysters or some fish and chips. Get yourself a frosted glass of African Mac and Jack. Look out at the water at the whales. You won't be disappointed, I promise. TR has a question. Oh my goodness. Someone's saying, please answer TR. TR. Now we do. We do. Okay. That doesn't look like a question. Please answer TR. Smiley face. Crone wisdom. TR. I don't see a question. Did I miss a question? Is there a big red question mark? I never watch Fox. Yeah, who does? Oh, what did this person get in trouble for? This Ida person, Sunny Hostin. What? Joy Behar. What? Whoopi Goldberg. What is this person? Why did you guys block Ida? Was it? Oh, I think they should switch from Fox News to Fox Entertainment. Oh, that's an interesting idea, TR. I don't see your question though. I'm sorry. I gave up the juice. You gave up the juice. Oh, you gave up the juice? What about if have you guys gone to Mexico yet and tried any of those juices they make? Oh my god, it's fantastic. It's like pineapple. We got the piñatas. It's a pina colada without the alcohol. Those are absolutely delicious. Okay, let's see. Joel is helping me here. Thank you to our floor director person. Florida's Baker Act prohibits the indiscriminate admission of persons to state institutions or the retention of persons without just cause. Oh, so what they're doing is by getting rid of the Baker Act, you can just be drug out without a stated cause? Does that violate the Constitution? Don't you have to know what the charge is? I don't know. You mean we can be indefinitely held without a charge? I don't know. I'm confused. Okay, Adam Schiff. How's Adam Schiff doing? Good question. He's running for Senate, right? So is Katie Porter. Um, he's doing very well for himself. He is. There's a lot of fighting around him. A new beginning. There's a lot of fighting around him. The other in relationship with him gets the job, but look at this Four of Pentacles, which can be frugality, hopes, and fears. There's a current investigation going on. With, in plain words, they're targeting him because there is an investigation into the Republican Party and what they did on January 6th. And one of the lead people that is involved is Adam Schiff, and that is why he's become a target, because they are threatened. He's one of the lead people pushing the investigation. Justice scales. They're making his life difficult because, he's a bit of a hero because they're threatened by him. He threatens them. So for them, it's a feeling of being threatened by him because of what he's trying to do. Oh, TRX says alcohol was like potato chips. You couldn't drink just one? Well, definitely true with me and potato chips. I like salty things. I like sweet things too, but not too sweet. But yeah, good. I like potato chips. I like Doritos. Everybody has a different what is your go-to snack, right? Say I travel a lot. Now I'm pulling back a little bit because I'm exhausted, but sometimes you show up and you're tired, you don't want to go out, there's nothing open, maybe you get back to your hotel, so you grab a couple things at the front desk. What are you going to grab? I always grab Coca-Cola, a bag of Doritos. If they don't have those, I'll get some Lay's potato chips. I'll get a Snickers bar, right? Those are things that you can usually get at most Best Westerns. I usually will stay at like a 3-star business place, like if I'm going to a class or whatever. But they usually have like a little area, the Red Lion, 11 at night, or if you have snacks, they'll sell you if it's late at night and you're tired, particularly at the airport, and you come in late, like California, when I'm at LAX, I'll stay at the Marriott. It's just like, I just grab, and they're like so convenient. When I was in Japan, everybody just did ramen, which I thought was really kind of clever. It's like people would show up at 4 a.m. Nobody sleeps in Tokyo, but there was always ramen. There was always really cool, and they have convenience things outside. You walk down the street, you can put a thing in and you can get a ramen, or you can get a beer or whatever. It's just, I love Tokyo. It's such an easy place to live. Pineapple. Ooh, I love pineapple. Yeah, we drank a lot of pinatas in Mexico. I just think it's a really healthy way to live. A lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. And I think I was there for 2 weeks and lost almost 5 pounds because all we were doing is eating really, really healthy food and swimming. We were swimming constantly and just burned it. You don't even think, and you're walking all over the beach and you're playing in the water and you're swimming in the swimming pool and you're eating, we were eating a lot of pico de gallo, guacamole, fruit juices that were made in front of us, like watermelon, melon juice. And I just felt so fantastic. I dropped 7 pounds. Isn't that amazing? All right, Joyce Pietres, Carrie H. Will some members of Congress face charges surrounding January 6th? That's a really good question. I don't know. Do you think that if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now? What do you think? Let's take a look. Any charges against members of Congress? I do think that it goes back to those remotes we've talked about, where you put yourself in the shoes of what it is to be a member of the Republican Congress. You start wondering who's talking to who. Did you talk to the feds? Did you talk to the feds? It's kind of like a feeling of feds are around, everywhere you see the feds. The feds are everywhere. You crawl under a rock, there's the feds looking for investigation. The feds, the feds, the feds. Queen of Pentacles, the FBI, right? So it is a feeling when you go into this that the feds are not antagonistic, but it's like you're getting a knock on the door and there they are again. And you never know. And the fact that you never know when they're going to show up is in and of itself unnerving. But over the issue, we see whatever the crisis was, this is a rocky water, this is a smooth water. With the Swords, they're basically saying we're moving into position of something that's much more stable than it's been in the past. However, in terms of whether or not Congress is safe right now, I would say the answer is probably not, because the opposition is building evidence. This is to build a case. This is an architecture card traditionally, and I often use it when I'm looking at evidence against somebody as literally like architecture. You're building the case. You're building the bricks of the case, which is not good for them. So it's not saying, Joyce, it's not saying that nothing is happening. It's saying that something is happening and that they're building a case, and that the Republicans who could be charged are very aware. They're very consciously aware of the fact that this is going on. And again, another thing that I would be concerned about if I were one of the defendants, or if I thought I was going to be charged, is this card being next to it, which is the sun. And the sun exposes and it sanitizes, right? You know, if you have impetigo, they would clean it, put it in the sun, and the sun, it can't survive in high air, high sun, certain kinds of bacteria, anaerobic. We've talked about anaerobic versus aerobic, et cetera, et cetera. So the sun has an aspect to it of sanitation. The truth came out. So they're building a case. There's the sun coming out is what they fear. And then they fear the FBI. There's the FBI card, Queen of Pentacles. She's the hidden queen. She collects the hidden money or the hidden evidence. I would say that there's a lot of evidence against them. I think I've always said I see between 3 to 5 people formally charged. And so yes, at least 3 to 4 people formally charged. I think Gozer will be charged. You can see just tons of evidence. Look at that 10 of Wands. Is it also not a card you want to see if your opposition is building evidence against you? You don't want to see a card like a 10 of Wands. Also, this King of Cups moving in with this evidence card means that people have been given an opportunity to turn. And I'll tell you why, because King of Cups is the great mediator. He's the bridge over troubled water. And the fact that they're using evidence and they're bringing in the King of Cups means that they probably got people to flip. If anyone's going to get anybody to flip, it's going to be the King of Cups. He's the therapist. He's the crab. He's the Cancerian man. He's come to Papa, right? So it's a card that will often come up when there's mediation. So the fact that the feds are not coming at this hard and heavy, but saying, let's make a deal. What do you got for me? Does not bode well for Congress. So they may be protected because they're all under the same group of lawyers, but now those lawyers are facing criminal charges, and now they're chipping away at that group of members of Congress that seem to be really heavily under investigation, but there's still an opportunity for some kind of deal to be made. In the end, it was kind of a sick relationship of addiction. They wanted to be part of something, you know, being seduced by power. They wanted to be close to the power, and unfortunately, they sold their soul in order to do it. The devil. They were chained like an addiction. When the feds went in, they kind of viewed it as if they had walked into some kind of sick cult, in the sense that everyone seemed to be high from this experience of being around Donald Trump. It was really like a cult. The devil card can be sexual addiction, codependency, but it has an aspect here that this was really a cult of personality more than anything else. He could do no wrong, and that's really dangerous. That's fascism, right? If someone has all the power, and it goes back to that idea we've talked about, which is that unrestrained power is the greatest threat to the planet, right? We all have to be restrained. None of us can live our lives without, just no restraints, can have all the money. It's very dangerous for the planet. We all have to have restraint, some restraint, whether we want to or not, right? All right, is Paul Pelosi recovering? What do I use? I use a Whimsy Celtic Cross, which is the same as a regular Celtic Cross, but I pulled 2 cards from the bottom, a base and a karma card. I use 12 cards in my Celtic. I use the bottom deck as the base of the matter, and the one under the bottom deck is the karma that you must go through in order to complete the mission. I picked 12. Some people only pick 10. I can't do it. I just couldn't do it. I tried to do a classic 10 and not look at the bottom of the deck because I feel like I'm spying. I almost feel like the remote viewer has to look at the bottom. You know, it's almost like you're spying on the reading. And then when you look at the one under, like this is what he's going to have to, they is going to have to go through. That's how I look at it. That's the 11th and 12th. Okay. Wow, terrible what happened to Paul Pelosi. I think it affected his, I think he had, it was damaging to his brain. The guy who harmed him is considered, may have a drug problem, may have an addiction problem. Fool takes a leap of faith. Look at this guy that hit him. See, I'm concerned about a fool because that did he experience possible brain damage? Would that be why this card would have come up? Or maybe he was naive. Did he open the door? I don't think so. I think this could be that there's a concern about neurological. The guy that attacked him, though, looks like a drug addict with a devil card or serious hopes and fears. This is Mr. Pelosi. Final outcome, Ace of Pentacles would indicate some kind of help is given to him, some kind of gift is given to him. Very embarrassing for the Canadian government. This is just a diplomatic embarrassment. There could be an attempt at some kind of compensation by the Canadian government, believe it or not. That's what it really looks like. So that if there's a medical cost or something like that, there could be some kind of something is offered by the Canadian government to make up for the fact that this wingnut came into our country and did this. Because you have this attempt to heal this situation. And then the star over the addict. So they have him taken care of, but you can see they're just 5 of Pentacles with, I mean, it reflects very badly on Canada. Final outcome is the Sword of Truth and an Ace of Pentacles, which would indicate that they may offer to partially pay for the bill or something like that. There's an Ace of Pentacles, some type of retribution. I know that other countries will sometimes do that when one of their own gets in trouble. Japan does that too, right? They will pay the bill to ship so it looks like something like that. Yeah. It's a lot of strange people out there. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it's rather scary when you think about it, isn't it? Ghosts are mentally ill? Well, he's definitely probably going to prison. I mean, the GOP House members flipping. What do you guys think? Would you flip if you were facing 10 years in prison? Of course. Particularly, you have to look at that card that was coming in for them, which is the King of Cups. You pray you're going to get a King of Cups, right? Because King of Cups is like a bridge over troubled water. And it's like the water's all troubled and he's just sitting there like, I can help you become emotionally stable. Tell me your burden. That tells me that they were flipping people. And it kind of goes back to the remote where members of the GOP have become paranoid that there's this thing going on. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this puppy up. I've been having a wonderful time with you all. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I want to thank all of those of you who have decided to become members of this wonderful channel. Being a member of the Oracle of Whimsy really helps us out. Also, if you could subscribe to the channel, it's another great way, because part of what we do here is that this is a philanthropic channel. Oh, yes. So the more of you subscribe, the more attention we get from the corporate world, and then we can woo them to our ways. Yes, we don't want to fight you, corporate America. We want to woo you. Come join us. If you want to give another $1 million to some kind of nonprofit that we support, that's great. So anyway, so if you subscribe, we appreciate that. It does help to get things out there. If you'd like to be a member, we do have memberships, and it's another great way to support the channel. It's $2.99 a month, Fairies and Angels, and we do get together for private readings with the group every Saturday, 12 noon Pacific Daylight Time. That's 3 p.m. in New York every Saturday if you'd like to hang out with our private tea time on Saturdays. For $9.99, we have a mystery school. We get together and we learn about naturopathic medicine and remote viewing. That's at the Empaths and Healers level. And we get together every Wednesday at 6 p.m. But of course, you don't have to attend the live. We do put all of the trainings online. Finally, if you'd like to be a benefactor, would you like to be my benefactor? That's $99 a month to be a benefactor for the show. And it gives you one free reading a month with me, a lovely conversation with me, and free readings, consults, etc., medical intuition, etc. And you get to pick which time of the month you'd like to have your reading, because benefactors do get priority. I think that's all the announcements I have. Debbie Brady is, of course, helping out with any questions. Also, Debbie Brady has started a fan pages for the Oracle of Whimsy. Another cool way to support the channel is to check us out on our fan pages. She also has developed some merch for us. Oh my God, I'm so excited about the merch. I ordered all my merch. I didn't order the hat yet. Gotta order the hat. But I did order something like 3 t-shirts and a mug. So you'll get to see me modeling some of that cool merch. Did I do everything, Debbie? Am I done, Debbie? Oh, thank you, Lynn. That was very kind of you. Who's a meth addict? Oh, Kaz, welcome to Fairies and Angels. Now we must know, are you a fairy or an angel? Who did you think was a meth addict, Joel Tilson? Oh, you think members of Congress like Gosar? I don't know. Okay, let's see. Do you think that's appropriate? Well, let's just see if Paul Gosar is going to prison. Let's look at that. Paul Gosar. Is that who you were referring to? Paul Gosar being an addict? Jim Jordan. I don't know. God, that guy's a mess. Okay. He's afraid of a police raid. He's afraid of I don't know. We'll wait and see. We will wait and see what happens. But he got that card too, the 6 of Swords. What's interesting also is that there's some exposure about his affiliations here again. You know, he's got that Sun card coming in, so something is about to be exposed. And he does have this fear. There's police action. You know, also the Constitution or the higher ethos, and also the police. So that can't be good. And then the final outcome is a new beginning with the King of Cups, which is kind of interesting again, because the cards are pointing to the fact that I think Americans just want things to become more peaceful. We're kind of entering a little bit more into the King of Cups. People are tired of war, everything that's going on in Ukraine, and the crazy fighting about politics. And it just feels like people want to have a nice summer. They want the war to end. They want peace. And that's kind of where the energy is moving. In terms of the war itself, they don't really have a lot of soldiers left. So, I mean, and I think that they've started to cross the Donetsk. So at that point, it's going to be really hard for the Russians to hold on. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks with the counteroffensive. All right, I'm going to go make myself some more coffee. And I think that's going to be it. And I think I have a client in 15 minutes. All right, be well, everybody. If you're trying to get in for a reading, you can find all my information below this video. Be kind to yourselves. Thank you so much for joining us and having us be a part of your day. And we'll see you next time. Be well. Thank you, everyone.